Good anytime, my fuzzies, to a quick review of a game I just finished. All opinions in this video are mine and mine alone, so just please enjoy and don't take them too seriously. Thank you. Good anytime, my fuzzyites, and welcome back to a quick review of Evil Dead, Fistful of Boomstick. As always with these quick reviews, I kind of just go over different parts of it, what I liked, what could be improved, what kind of people would like it and whatnot, and stuff like that. So without further ado, with the whole game as a whole, I really enjoyed it. It's a fun game to go through and whatnot. Puzzles are kind of irritating, but I'll talk about that and why later. But overall, it works. This game works pretty well as an Evil Dead game, or it works really well as an Evil Dead game. The cutscenes are great, the monsters are imaginative, and all that jazz. But we will continue with the story. What is the story? This game takes place, I guess, 12 years after Hail to the King, 20 years after the events of Evil Dead the movie. I guess Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. And Jenny, who is the girl from Hail to the King, 10 years after her death in a car accident. They couldn't have just had her, just leave him. It didn't work out. No. She has to die. It's weird choice. But anyways, from where Hail to the King left off, some guy, I guess it's Eldridge now, had written a best-selling book about the Necronomicon and whatnot. He went onto a radio station and accidentally unleashed the Deadites' plague upon humanity. Ash gets into action after killing his favorite bartender who got taken over by a Deadite, and goes forth and does what he does. At first, making his way to the TV station to get the people in the Necronomicon thing, or whatever they have, while killing a lot of Deadites. Once there, he tries to get Professor Nobley, who's the first one who read or translated the Necronomicon, its information, as well as a cryptic to know what's going on, to better themselves, to stop the mess. After they do get it, they find out they head to the museum to find artifacts, I guess, and whatnot. Which, after doing so, you find out that Eldridge, after getting his hands on the notes, you go there to get the summoning stone to send all the Deadites back. But once Eldridge gets the summoning stones, he uses it to go back in time, and Ash, of course, being the upstanding citizen he is, follows him after kissing Trish, as he does. Because he has to be the man. He has to be the man and go for whatever girl's around. But he's also kind of crazy and don't do what he does. He says some very questionable, disturbing things. But you go back in time to the colonial era, where he's doing something. I can't remember what exactly he's doing in the colonial era. If there was even said what he was doing in the colonial era besides sending Deadites out. But after making your way to him, there was a spell. Giving him the 5 pieces of the spell to do something horrendous. He flees to the future Civil War era, which you once again follow, where the Union Fort is being attacked by Deadites. So you go back into town, you get the Union Army, as well as the Confederate Army, to work together in order to take back the fort, kill Eldridge, and finally make it back to your time period. Though when you're there, you find out that, hey Degrint, did you miss it? Yeah, this is just a quick review now. It was a quick get in when I found out what to do. Sorry, but yeah. Quick go back and watch it. But yeah, so after that, back in present day, he finds out that there's a Deadite Queen who dug for the summoning stone, got it, You're too good. It was not hard. Got the summoning stone, the Demon Queen did, and then you go all over the new Deer board that has been taken over by Deadites, free survivors, get weapons, get stuff to meet her in her chamber, and it turns out, surprise, surprise, it's Trish, the reporter from the beginning, and all the way through. And after killing her, I guess you're taken to, that's the end of the game portion, you're taken to, I believe, Imperial China, or the old, whatever China it is. China in the past, where there was samurai and whatnot. And, surprise, surprise, the Deadites follow, possess the guards, and Ash, who can speak Chinese, which surprised me, but he is that level of both incompetent, yet smart enough to do stuff, so I buy it. And so you, I guess that's where it starts. Maybe we'll continue in Evil Dead Regeneration, maybe not. Who knows? We'll find out. But besides that, that's kind of the story. And overall for a story, I like it. It's like Hail to the King and everything else, where it's just a fun ride through different areas to view. Some of the areas look way too similar, which I'll get to that in my setting portion of the review. Did Samurai sound interesting? Yes, I was excited to continue that. Hopefully in Evil Dead Regeneration, which is the next game, we start off there, but I have a feeling it's just gonna yada yada, I beat it, I saved the Emperor, I'm now a royalty in that country. But we'll see, I've never played Regeneration. But yeah, so overall for a story, really good. If they made this, and like I said, if they made Hail to the King and this an animated, like, movie, it'd be really good. Because it looks good, it looks good, the action's good, it's very Evil Dead storyline and whatnot, which is not too much, but just enough to make you go like, yeah, that makes sense, that's good. I like where this is going. It's neat. Very neat. Story. So now on to the characters. So as for characters, you have Ash, of course, you have Eldridge, Trisha, and then there's some minor characters, like there's a couple pastors you talk to, who are kind of just righteous in there. What else do you really have? I guess your ancestors, Ash's ancestors, the colonial captain, no, not colonial, Confederate captains, chief, whatever they're called, and whatnot, and then some survivors. So there's not much in the way of different unified characters, but you at least have Eldridge and Trish there. Which, Ash is his same old self, doing what he has to do, because it's right / otherwise the world gets taken over. Never really sure if he's a good guy or just good by happenstance. But besides that, what else happens? But yeah, but he's the same as always, still his one-lining BA, insult what he can, have his own taunt button and whatnot self. So, it's still Bruce Campbell, it's still good, it's still Ash. It still makes sense for his character continuing on. Besides that, you have Trish, who is, well, he's a little too forward with Trish. At one point it goes from just like slight flirting to, yeah, no, you don't say that to someone, Ash. Please. But Trish is kind of just your female here for Ash to flirt with and whatnot and go way too far. Until the end where she becomes queen. But you never really know why she decided to become green. The Ash Deadpool movie needs to exist. That'd be amazing. But you never really know why she's going with the Deadites, and I guess it's power. It's always power. But, like, you don't know much about her. Even Eldridge, I guess it's power. There's nothing interesting. They're a means to an end. Like a lot of these movies and games have been is a lot of the characters here are a means to an end. His girlfriend Jenny was just a reason for him to go after the people. In here, it's because he wanted to stop Eldridge and whatnot. It's all just getting you to the action, and that's all it has to be. So, if you like Ash, he's still himself, he's still doing what he does, he still goes through time. You meet some of his ancestors and talk to them and whatnot, and it's interesting. But overall, it's, yeah, like I said, the characters are a means to an end. A good means to an end where they're not boring. But, yeah. And then you got the settings. So there are 6 parts, 6 parts to the world. You have, what is it? The outskirts of Dearborn, which are a lot of strip clubs. Like, the whole street or the whole town there is just strip clubs, and I don't know how many women need to work that there are so many, if that's their choice, or how many men have to work if that's their choice. But, like, yeah, there's beside each other all over the town there. Lumberyard and whatnot. It's fine. You're not going to get lost there, but there's nothing too spectacular besides, again, a lot of strip clubs for no reason. You go inside a strip club, that breaks down, but even then when you go inside, it's pathetic. Like, there's one stage, no real chairs besides at the bar. So, yeah. Hi.
Strip clubs, huh?
There's so many strip clubs there. And I don't know why. Even the one you go into is just one stage and no chairs and then just a bar with stools. Like, I don't know if they're like, yes, people are bored, let's do this. Let's get all the women together who want to and do this. But, like, yeah, it's... The only thing that's remarkable about the first place is how many freaking strip clubs are around. Too many. You don't need any. That's too many. But people have their own choices. Besides that, afterwards you go into the second area, or after you go to the TV station, you go to the second area, which has the museum area, there's a church, a diner that you can't go into, it's just kind of there, and the university. Again, it's a means to an end, but nothing too remarkable. It's buildings, no strip clubs though, so there you go. The church is there, so it's the, not upstanding, that makes it sound, it's the more religious side of town. Police station's there too. But yeah, it's just, again, nothing too remarkable. It's fine. What it needs to be. After that, you go into the museum, which has at least some exhibits, but even then, what was there? There's like an old colonial or Civil War exhibit, which is interesting. Which at least is interesting. It's kind of a nod to, hey, you're gonna be here. It would have been more interesting if he would have, like, said some things like, oh, I couldn't imagine being here in the past. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You're not gonna guess what's gonna happen in the future. Because that would be cool. It'd be cool in one of these games to go through a museum, and as you go through the museum and see exhibits, those are the places you're going to go to in this adventure. As kind of a nod to that. So when you replay, or you go back to the museum, you go, oh yeah, we've been here into these areas. And it's literally like where you go for this mission to get through everything is what you see in all the time periods you go to. But yeah, it's an okay museum. Kind of small and not much to look at, but I think it's because it's over top of Nathan Payne's Danger Room or whatever it is. Who he himself is interesting. I guess another man who wanted power from the Deadites and kind of got it. There's a lot of villains who are just want power in this with no like, I want power because I was bullied. I want power to make the world a better place. But anyways, museum's kind of nice, but it has some good at least exhibits, but not really much. Besides that, afterwards you go into the colonial era, which has a lot of houses. There's a forestish area, and the blacksmith. Overall, yeah, it looks like it was in the past. There's a giant house there that's not there in the future. That's actually completely gone, and there's a road going through it where it once was. So that's kind of odd. But I guess it burns down later. So it's fine. There's nothing too spectacular. The whole thing is probably just going through cities, either heavily dense urban cities in present day to back in time to less dense rural cities and whatnot. Which makes sense. But then you go into the Civil War era, which the one thing they didn't do, which I kind of don't like, is they just took all the assets from the colonial era, duplicated them, blocked off some areas to go, so you're stuck in your own little area there. Added a fort at least, but a majority of it is just... No, now that I think about it, there's no real way to leave the city in the first area. It's all just random roads that don't lead nowhere. Maybe I missed something, but weird. But with the colonial area, they just took the Civil War era. They just took the colonial buildings, the layout of the town and whatnot, and then just broke a bunch of things and set things on fire, which is fine, but, you know. Some areas are different, like they have the Union camp and the Confederate camp that you can go into in areas. But overall, like, at the least they could have done for this is in the church's graveyard have a lot more gravestones there than in the colonial area. But they don't do that. So did no one die since then? It's been a few hundred years, I think. Or maybe just... It's been a while at least, because you talk to your relatives... whatever, I'm not going to get into that time hole dilemma thing. But there should be more graves there to fill it out, because in the future, it's full. So when you go to the distant past, yeah, there's a few. And when you go into the Civil War, which is closer to the present, there should be a few more. Not full, but more. Not to mention the graveyard beyond the church had been demolished in present day, but either way, not gonna. Yeah. But where the place really does shine, and I really like, is when you get back to the present day, after the Civil War era, you go into the present day where it's being taken over by Deadites. So there's like underground tunnels and cave systems to go through. The town's completely wrecked with weird pillars and whatnot. There's weird symbols, pillars, doors, and whatnot. And overall, it works really good. I enjoyed it. It's the most original looking thing in the game, which means it can be original and look good. And whatnot. And it's my favorite area because it's dark, it's depressing, but it's good. It's well done. But for settings, it's kind of just there. Some things stand out, but it's not overly, like, big things. I don't know. It's fine for what it is. But yeah, so for settings, the last area is really good. All the rest, But again, I don't play this for the settings. I play it for the story. And the gameplay, which is what we're going to sequence right into now. So this game takes a lot of what you did in Hail to the King, the game before it, but changing it up substantially enough to make it feel better. Instead of being a tank control, it's full 3D movement. So you can walk / run around. You have your chainsaw in one hand, as well as you get some other weapons, like a flamethrower and a Gatling gun, which is fun. And then you have, in your other hand, you have shovel. You get the shotgun with various different ammo types. You get the launcher that launches Molotovs or dynamite, a pistol, a hand cannon, stuff like that. So your weapons are good. How you attack is actually better in this game, because it actually feels like if you're careful, you won't get hit, though you can get ambushed, which isn't fun, and still lose a lot of life. You don't have many chances to get life in this, besides killing deadites or finding medical bags on the ground, which kind of sucks, but I wish that was better. But you also get a spell book, which has different spells that you can use. Killing deadites replenish your soul, whatever, to use the spells. Stuff like you can get extra strength by growing big, you can electrocute people, you can possess certain deadites, which is cool. But it's not like you can attack other deadites, because they will just wreck you completely. But it's good to get through some certain doors later on in the game, or get into certain areas you can't otherwise get into, which is neat. But yeah, so the spells are there, the attacks are there. It's kind of the same thing as Evil. It's another one of those puzzle games where you get an item, use an item, break something down because you have the chainsaw, or otherwise do stuff. But there were a few times where I just went to an area, nothing was there, had to come back afterwards, and all of a sudden it appeared, which I don't like when games do that, especially in puzzle games. Because when I'm going through, I'm systematically going through area to area going, anything here? No. Of course it didn't work. I missed some things in the colonial era that if I looked closer I would have seen. The one I would have seen. The other thing I would have chalked it up to, oh, okay, yeah, this is not what I think it is, and moved on. But there were just a few puzzles that were bonkers to me. But that might just be me not being as attentive, doing a show, so I can't spend hours on one puzzle thing, just walking around endlessly. But overall for the puzzles, Hail to the King at least was a lot more centralized and going, whereas this one felt like there were puzzle areas that you had to go to that weren't clear. Like have a torch near it so I can see the outline of the thing. I guess the one thing kind of did, but by the time I got there, did the thing and left, it wasn't there anymore, so I didn't see it. But yeah. But overall, good puzzles and whatnot. Fine puzzles. Works good enough. And yeah, so overall, it's your same slashing, better fighting, a lot better fighting with the chainsaw or weapons and whatnot. There's a charged chainsaw attack that does a swirl around you. That can do massive damage. Overall, pretty good. So yeah, so playing it's better. I wish there was a better way to get ammo or health, because the majority of what you get from the deadites when you kill them is just power for your magic. But yeah, for what it is, not a bad game. Definitely a bit room for improvement, but still decent. Yeah, I think the combat was miles above Hail to the King, and we'll get to that in a bit. But I guess we'll go into the legacy of the game, coming off the rest of the Evil Dead franchise being the 3 movies and Hail to the King before it. It does still feel like an Evil Dead game. Like I said, if they made this into an animated TV show, I think it would work well. It works well. The story is interesting. I think they could flesh out Eldridge and Trisha a bit more. But like, Ash is still your one-lining person. He has his own things. The people you meet want things, and he's like, yeah, everyone wants things. It adds in spells that you can use to give you more variety, a lot more weapons and whatnot. But overall, for an Evil Dead game, this does feel good for an Evil Dead game. The bosses, at least, they weren't run into it and kill it like Hail to the King. Hail to the King was just, the combat was atrocious. Here, it's a lot better. It works and whatnot. Again, I just wish healing, you could get things to heal yourself later like you could in Hail to the King. But I managed. As long as you're careful with it, you can make it through. But overall, for a continuation for the Evil Dead series, I enjoyed it. This is a game to play and whatnot. And now for taking all of that into an overall conclusion of the game, it really works. The puzzles are a bit more ludicrous. Like, the one that I still hate is there are deadites in the one yard. The cops won't let you into the building until you get rid of those deadites. But you need to get into there to get the deadites. So you go through and you pick up dynamite from the park, which you might not even notice if you're just going through and doing stuff. But you're supposed to throw the dynamite into the lot, blow the thing up, break into the strip club thing that's attached to. Because you have to get in there because someone has a key card in there because they wanted to die happy, I guess. Die with a smile on their face. But like, just... it's such a weird thing because you also go around the back entrance to the place and you need a key to get in. So I was looking for a key, but no, you just blow it up and then it opens automatically. And the cops don't even open the doors, it's the deadites that run out. The cops leave and you still can't go through those doors. It's just a weird thing. I know it's more a me thing where I didn't consider that, but it's still frustrating when games do that. But overall, the puzzles were overly fine. I wish there was a better, like, indicator for some stuff. Or again, I'd go through an area, nothing would be there. Later on, it tells me I need to do something. So then, if I go back to that area, suddenly a new path opens up, and that infuriates me. Either I missed it the first time, or it did indeed appear. In either way, I think one thing is breakable walls needed to be more in focus, more seen, because I knew what they looked like, but when a lot of things are darker, maybe I just need to put up the brightness. Harder to see. But all in all for it, it was a fun game. The cutscenes and characters were fine. Ash was great. Other characters were a means to an end. The story was interesting. The designs of the characters is phenomenal. I would love to see some of these designs come back. The boss battles were but you kind of get it at the end. And they did truly went hardest boss battle at the beginning to the easiest boss battle. For some reason they decided to do that. But all in all, I recommend the game. It is fun for the Evil Dead game to continue the legacy, but there's no more to say. A fine game to play. I'm more inclined to play this again now that I know what's going on, if I can remember. Maybe I will. And if you guys want me to play through the arcade portion of the game, because there's little challenges and whatnot, let me know and I'll do so. But until then, thank you much buddies for watching, and I will see you next anytime. Take care.